News Central TV's Bernard Akede now joins us live from an update on from the scene of the building collapse. Good evening to you, Bernard. Good evening, Bernard. What's the latest update from where you are?
In your introduction, the developer himself, Femi Oshibona, his remains have been found to the relief of many. Initially, it was speculations as to whether he was one of those trapped underneath the rubble. Sadly, yes, he was, and his remains have been found, meaning that clearly he didn't make it out alive. The total number of casualties that we have so far ranges between, at least the number that we are given, ranges between 32 and either 36 or 38. Like you mentioned earlier, we have a particular figure from the Lagos State government and another figure from the National Emergency Management Agency by the acronym NEMA. So we're waiting to get, a harmonized figure so that we know exactly how many people, how many casualties have come out from the rubble of this 21-story building that has collapsed. Sadly, there still is no manifest to tell how many people exactly were in the building when it came down like a pack of cards on Monday afternoon. So it's going to be difficult to determine how many people exactly may still remain, how many casualties may still be under the rubble. Remember that 9 persons made it out alive. Of those 9, 3 have been discharged and 6 are still under critical condition, receiving treatment. Sadly, we still have friends, family members, relatives, and maybe, co-workers of some of those who have lost their lives in this building that collapsed. Many of them still seated here. Some of them have been here since Monday, hoping for some kind of closure to know if possible their loved ones are still under the rubble or have been taken away. But also, before we got here, we heard that 1 or 2 body bags were also taken into the premises, and then they were brought out looking seemingly empty, suggesting that they may have been emptied, or they probably contained dismembered body parts, sadly. Now, when identification of bodies will commence, we do not know just yet. We're hoping to hear something from the government. And then also, the little change that may have occurred here is that to my right, you may have seen that on screen before, there's some canopies and tents that have been occupied by Lagos State health workers for counseling of our family members, and also for treatment of anybody who may have fallen ill or who needs first aid care and attention.
And before I let you go, there are reports on when this exercise will be finalized, or they will continue to do their best until because we understand, like you said earlier, there's no manifest for those who were on the site, on the building site on the day of the collapse. So at what points will they call off this rescue operation?
Okay, so Benga, I'll kindly step out of the way a bit to see if we can get a clear view of what's going on inside. Now, directly behind me, you can see that the rubble that we had here on Monday has gradually but continuously and steadily diminished to what you have behind me right there from this side. But that's the much we can see from the front view. We're not sure what's going on behind this particular heap of rubble from the collapsed building, but we know that it's been taken apart chunk by chunk, piece by piece. There are people who are still hoping that family members will be found and hoping that they'll be found alive, but as the clock ticks, the chances of finding anybody alive from this rubble continue to diminish and to reduce. We have not been told anything yet as to when this rescue operation will finally be called off. But of course, again, like I said, as the days go by and as the hours continue to fly by, you can tell that at some point, sadly, people have begun to lose hope that anybody else can come out of this rubble. So from my calculations, maybe very soon it may be called off, but maybe the government will continue to relent and to keep pushing on. Remember that the last time anybody was pulled out alive was on Tuesday, which is just the day after this building came down. And between then and now, it's clearly more than 72 hours. So, hope has really diminished. But yet again, to answer your question, we have not been informed when this search and rescue operation will will eventually be called off.
Thank you very much for your update as always, Bernard. We appreciate your time.